What's up, TikTok? Y'all gotta pay attention to what's going on. Powerful solar flares today erupts from the sun, triggering radio blackouts across North America, the United States. The sun is giving off electromagnetic high frequency, y'all. The sun is a big electromagnetic energy that gives off flares or high voltage frequency electromagnetic energy flares from the sun. The most intense of these solar flares erupted on June the 15th, which is yesterday. Yesterday was a higher frequency yesterday. You see all the stuff that was going on this weekend, yesterday, because the electromagnetic energy is high. The vibration is high. The frequency is high, y'all. They don't want you to understand that this sun, we living in a new world. We're coming into a new age where this sun is giving off all this high frequency electromagnetic energy.
Marching.
Not trying to scare you, but with China and Russia acting wild, one EMP and boom, we're in the dark. No internet, no Wi-Fi, no phone, no way to reach your people. I'm not living like that, and you shouldn't either. That's why I grabbed solar power banks for everyone in the fam, and this is one of the strongest on the market. It has embedded cords that will recharge any device, plus a lightning pad for rapid charging. USB and USB-C ports for additional charging. Super bright LED flashlight with 3 different modes. You need to grab yours today because the manufacturer has it at a 60% off sale. Worst part about it is, they're constantly running out of stock, but they just restocked. If that link is live below.
That ain't gonna save you, E. Shalom, first and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone who do rule and teach well. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakatham. To the sincere believers, the hopefully elect out there, listening, learning. Back again in the spirit with another lesson. So we'll start off right here. Map reveals U.S. blackout after powerful solar flare. All right, we've been seeing the sun acting real strange, you know, especially over this past week. It's been a lot of solar flare reports coming out. And today there were radio blackouts due to this high frequency energy coming from the sun. So let's get a scripture, all right, because the Lord said that we would see signs in the heavens in these last days to let us know. And look, with everything going on, and there's a lot going on, we are very close to the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai, man. You know, we're rapidly coming towards the end of this world called Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. Luke 21:25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations. Haven't we been seeing that? Or haven't we been seeing these nations be in distress, perplexed, wars going on, famines, you know, rumors of war, all right, artillery troops being moved, all right, and we'll touch on these things in this lesson, Lord will, all right, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man, which is Hamashiach Yahushai, coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Okay, now, Salaki, back to the article, right? It says here, large parts of the USA suffered a radio blackout due to major activity in space this week. On June 15th, North America found itself under a shortwave radio blackout, leading to a loss of signal at frequencies below 20 megahertz. Amateur radio operators may have been affected by the signal loss, with commercial radio usually operating at a higher megahertz rate. The blackout was caused by a solar flare from the sun following a growing active region of a sunspot. Solar flares are intense bursts of radiation or light on the sun. They are the most powerful explosions in the solar system and can contain as much energy as 1 billion hydrogen bombs, according to NASA. Solar flares are classified according to their intensity, with an M being the second highest on the scale. Now, of course, we know there are things that are happening. The Lord is manifesting the end through the signs of the times. All right, so you're gonna have high energy frequencies. These so-called solar flares come from the sun, and of course, there's gonna affect some things on the earth. You know what I'm saying? But these are all a part of the judgments of Yahweh Basham Shai. But we also know that Esau, being the devil, that he already has a plan to go lights out. Okay, he already has a plan to shut down the grid. And you've heard this from multiple elites over the past 5 years, especially, that this is what they plan to do. Okay, the video that brothers always go into with Klaus Schwab, telling you that there's going to be a comprehensive cyber attack. You watch shows like 0 Day, all right? Things like that, where these devils have openly showed you that there is going to be a blackout, things are going to be shut down very soon. And I believe that this can really happen any day now, especially how things are heating up with Israel and Iran and China and North Korea, all these nations going to war. All right. I think reports came out today that Trump, he had to leave the G7 meeting early because of the tensions going on in the so-called Middle East. So things are hot right now, man. Okay, the Lord is coming back very soon, and if you're in the spirit, then you can feel it. All right, that's why we tell you, Jakes, man, to get yourself right, repent. This world has nothing for you. This world has no future. It's done, man. All right, no future here, no kind of hope. Use this world, don't abuse it, man. This is the time where you should be seeking the Lord with all fervency, diligence, and sincerity. Okay, because whether you want to believe it or not, the doors of the spiritual ark are closing. All right. And if you ain't inside the ark, but when the doors close, man, and you on the outside, that's it. You cooked. You're done. All right. Let's get another scripture. Ecclesiastes 12. Chapter 12 and verse 1. Remember Yahweh in your youth. Ecclesiastes 12 and 1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, which is right now. Okay, you're supposed to be seeking the Lord right now, all right, while the evil days come not, because right now things are still relatively normal. You can still, walk outside and feel somewhat safe. But things are changing so fast by the day that any given day, man, things can just blow up, literally. Things can just blow up, just go out of control. It can be chaos in the streets. We just don't know. So this is why you should be seeking the Lord right now, man. Okay, while the evil days, come not. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. Okay? So these are the times that, hey, you should be putting all your chips, all your eggs into the basket of Yahweh Bashmel Shai, because that is what a wise man would do. A wise man, a wise woman would do in this time, man. Okay, the scriptures say that a prudent man foresee the evil and hides himself. Where are you going to hide yourself? You're going to hide yourself in the pavilion of the strong name that is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, where you can be safe and have refuge, man. Because you got to understand, the Lord is the one that's bringing the hell upon the earth. Okay, the Lord is the one bringing these evils. All right, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 7. Okay, the Lord is the one bringing these evils upon the earth. And this is all to punish the wicked. All right, so now is the time to separate yourself. All right, don't follow the crowd. Don't be out here trying to so-called keep up with the Joneses, man. You know what I'm saying? Now is the time to really be on your most just be fervent in the spirit, Stop playing around, Jake. Time is short. Ezekiel 7 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, an evil And only evil, behold, is come. And end is come, the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. All right? So we're in the, clearly we're in the last days, okay? We're in the very latter end of the last days to where the Lord is about to return, man. And this is why you're seeing these strange events go on, okay? And no doubt with the whole so-called Middle East conflict, fuel is about to be very scarce, okay? Very soon, you're not going to be able to get no gas. You're not going to be able to have no heat or cooling for your home. All these things are about to dry up, man. All right, because a lot of, of course, oil and gas that we get come from Iran, from that Persian Gulf region. So the fact that there's a major war going on over there, trade is going to stop. And guess what? That fuel is going to stop coming to America real soon, man. All right, so you about to see the price of gas jump through the roof, which means that it's going to be a domino effect. I don't want to get ahead of myself, all right? Let's check out this video right here from the Epic Economist. Gas stations will go empty, all right?
President Trump spending hours in the Situation Room with his national security team Friday as Israel and Iran launched additional missiles at one another. It's inevitable the U.S. will feel an economic impact from this conflict.
It's causing the cost of oil to skyrocket. Analysts say that U.S. gas prices are likely to climb higher, and that could start as soon as this week.
Gas. See that? So gas prices could start climbing as soon as this week. Mind you, these Americans, these Babylonians are already under a major financial strain. Okay, people can already barely put gas in their car. Remember about 2 years ago when the gas did get super high in some places like California, the gas was like $9 a gallon. You had people going around siphoning gas out of people's tanks, man, because they couldn't afford it themselves. All right, so you saw a major rise in theft and crime just over gas. All right, you had a lot of trucking companies around that time start laying off or closing down business. There was the one trucking company, I think it was Yellow, that went out of business around that time because they just couldn't afford to, keep the operation going. So with the cost of fuel going up, everything else around you is going to go up as well, because these trucking companies, they're already under a financial strain because there's nothing coming in at the ports. Okay, then when you combine that with not even being able to afford to fuel these 18-wheeler big rig, trucks, the whole supply chain is going to break down. It's not going to be no business, no work for nobody, man. Okay, and that's the same thing it was saying in Ecclesiastes chapter 12. We could have kept reading down, but it says that, matter of fact, let's just go back to it. All right, that's the spirit. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 4, and it says, in the doors, matter of fact, let's start at verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. The grinders are the workers, the common working citizen, because they are few. Okay, a lot of people getting laid off of their jobs right now. The work for Egypt is drying up, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. When the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. See? So the grinding is coming to a halt, man. And with this gas going up, that's going to make sure everything stops. And see, you have to understand as well that these wars, okay, because America produces oil domestically, okay, but they're going to use this as an occasion to say, well, we're going to have to increase the price of your goods and services because of these wars going on, all right? So, this is all a plan, cunningly devised plan by the devil to bring America to its knees and ultimately accept this beast system that they bringing about, man. Everything is set up. Okay, you have to remember the end goal of what Esau is doing. Okay, he wants to make it so nobody is self-sufficient to where you have to run to him for a solution for peace and safety. That's how he's making it. At the same time, you have these sleeper cells that are about to be activated, will already have been activated, should I say. Okay, and you saw them out there in these protests that have been happening all over the country. Okay, them sleeper cells are already out there, man, but you about to be seeing large-scale T attacks on American soil like the likes of what you've never seen before. Okay, you had Tom Homan come out and say that America, pretty much any day now is going to experience another 9/11 style attack. Okay, you have some Iraq leader come out and call for a national day of jihad on American soil. So, hey, you have a lot going on, man. A lot of things are about to transpire, and we're in some very dangerous times. Okay, and this right here is only going to add fuel to the fire.
Stations across America could run completely dry in just days. We're not talking about expensive fuel anymore. We're talking about no fuel at all. Right now.
See? No fuel at all. So again, the truckers that transport the goods from the docks, which the docks are empty, by the way, that transport, loads back and forth, they're not going to be able to afford it, man. Just imagine if gas gets to $10 a gallon. And, diesel, which these truckers, they use diesel, all right? So diesel is always more expensive than regular gas, man. So they, if, let's say that you get like low grade gas, you know what I'm saying, and that is $10. Well, diesel is going to be $13, $14, $15 even in some places easily. Okay, $15 a gallon, you got 200 gallons in your 18 wheeler. Okay, you do the math. At that point, you're losing more money than you're making, man. So listen, everything is about to stop in America, Babylon the Great. Jeremiah 51 says, well, we would have healed Babylon, but she cannot be healed. Okay, this is the collapse of America, Babylon the Great.
As you're watching this video, Iranian lawmakers are seriously considering a move that could send shockwaves through every gas station from coast to coast. They're threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway that carries 20% of the world's oil supply.
And not only is the Strait of Hormuz important for the gas supply, a lot of trade happens through there as well. Okay, a lot of cargo ships go through the Strait of Hormuz to get to Europe and, get to America and things of that nature. Okay, so with that being closed off, man, you about to be seeing widespread famines all across the globe. Okay, because global trade is breaking down. Global trade about to stop with these wars that's going on.
If that happens, we won't just see $5 gas, we won't just see $7 gas. We could see gas stations with bags over the pumps and no fuel signs everywhere you look. Remember the 1970s oil crisis? The long lines, the rationing, the panic buying. That's about to look like child's play compared to what's coming.
And he's absolutely right. Because look, listen, we're already in a day and time where people are on edge, man. People are already ready to crash out. Okay, people are already going through enough. So you add these things into the equation. Groceries are already expensive. They about to get more expensive. Very soon, you about to be paying $20 for a carton of eggs. Okay, $50 for a gallon of milk. You see, $60 for a tub of butter. No lie. These are the things that are coming upon the earth, man. Hyperinflation. Okay? And, we'll play a video at the end to show you that a woman had a vision of this same very thing, of what the prophets had been warning you of, man. Of what the scriptures say, first and foremost, man. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, so what is this leading to? This is leading to inflation and eventually hyperinflation. All right, Revelation. Let's get Revelation 6. Revelation 6 and 5. The third seal, famine. Okay, which is what is coming upon the earth, and especially to Babylon the Great. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Okay, a penny goes into a day's wages. All right. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So very soon All right, you're going to be paying a day's wages for a small amount of food, which really, I mean, it's already like that. All right, people are paying $250, $300 and walking out the grocery store with 2 to 3 bags, 4 bags max of groceries. Okay, when pre-pandemic, that could have had you, with enough food for 2 weeks, man. All right, so not only is the dollar weakening, which the dollar is about to be done, over with, all right, but you're paying more for everything by and large, okay? It's not going down, it's only getting higher. And with these global conflicts continuing to escalate, it's only going to get worse, all right? People about to be out of a job soon, okay? It's going to be more chaos, more hell in the streets. And see, very soon, people right now, they feel as though they have a nest egg to where they can ride this thing out. But no, man, the time is going to come where even those that may have a couple M's in the bank, or they, got a couple 100,000, they going to lose all that, man, because Esau going to take it. There's a thing called the great taking coming as well. Okay, to where these elite devils, man, they going to crash the banks. They going to wipe out everybody's 401k. All right, you ain't about to have nothing. So this is a truly hellish scenario being brought on by the Lord, man. Okay? And hey, this is why you're not supposed to love this world, because this world is on the way out. And if you love it, then you're going to do anything you got to do to keep what you have. All right? So this is why, we're supposed to be of the mindset of pilgrims, man, knowing that this ain't our home, that we just passing through. You know what I'm saying? That we moving on to greener pastures, man, which, Lord willing, we be of that elect number to be the first fruits of the kingdom. But yeah, we have a mindset of, look, we're moving on to greener pastures, man. This is not our end all be all. You know what I'm saying? You got people out here dying from stress because they're so worried about the future and what's to come and how they going to do this, and that. We're not worried about these mortal thoughts, man. Okay? Of course, yeah, we're in the flesh and we have, certain thoughts from time to time, but, we got to rebuke that, and keep our eyes on the prize, man. Know that the Lord is in control of all things. That ultimately, if you serve the Lord is not just going to leave you out there like these unbelievers and these heathens, man. You know what I'm saying? The Lord been sustaining us, so he's not just going to forsake us like that. Right, so we got to keep that mindset, brother. You know what I'm saying? It's not a thing of just being, all up in the flesh and just getting down in your thoughts. Sometimes it's easier said than done. But knowing that Yahweh Bashmel Shai is in control of all things gives us comfort. You see? But yeah, man, hyperinflation. Okay, a measure of wheat for a day's wages, man. Small amount of food, and you're going to be given a whole lot. Okay, also, 2nd Ezra 6. Okay, this is what's coming as well. Famine. 2nd Ezra 6 and 24. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. All right, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world, as it says in Matthew, the 24th chapter. Right, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. Okay, it says, verse 22, and suddenly shall the sown places, the farms, the supermarkets, the malls, you know what I'm saying, the businesses, even people's backyard garden. Okay, all these things are about to be unsown, man. It's about to be dry, barren out here. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. You see that? Suddenly. And there was an incident with Whole Foods last week to where they had a cyber attack. Okay, and they wasn't able to put food up on the shelves, and people was panicking. They was panic buying. And listen, these are warnings from the Lord, man. These are warnings from Yahweh Bashmel Shai, showing you that at a moment's notice, all these things can disappear. Okay, going back to the scripture that says a prudent man foresee the evil. So, knowing the time that we're in, knowing that things are not certain from day to day, it'd be wise to, get some extra things and put aside for a rainy day. All right, not having the mindset that that's going to save you, but hey, It's better to have it than to, have to rush and try to, get your hands on something in the midst of chaos when it all goes down. So that's just the wise thing to do. But yes, these things are coming according to Yahweh Bashmel Shai.
The dominoes are already falling in the Middle East, and the final domino is going to land right at your local gas station. Within 48 hours, this situation could spiral completely out of control. Here's why you need to prepare now. This crisis didn't start at the pump. It started with missiles flying between Israel and Iran. Over the weekend, Israeli jets bombed Iranian nuclear facilities and energy infrastructure. Tehran is burning. Iranian fuel depots are on fire, sending black smoke into the night sky. But Iran isn't backing down. They're escalating in ways that will devastate the global economy. Iranian lawmakers are now seriously considering closing the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical oil choke point. This narrow passage, just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, is where 1/5 of all global oil passes through every single day. Every day, millions of barrels of oil that should be heading to refineries worldwide could be completely cut off. And we mean cut off. The shipping lanes are just 2 miles wide in each direction. That's what stands between normal gas prices and complete economic chaos. Iranian officials have been preparing for this moment for decades. They have fast attack boats, anti-ship missiles, and naval mines positioned to turn the waterway into a hot zone. They don't even need to sink ships. They just need to make insurance companies refuse coverage. Once Lloyd's of London says no coverage, the oil stops flowing immediately. Here's where this gets catastrophic. Iraqi Foreign Minister Fuad Hussein just warned that if Iran closes that strait, oil prices could hit $300 per barrel. Not $100, not $200, $300. To put that in perspective, oil is around $75 right now. We're talking about a 400% price increase virtually overnight. But even if oil only doubles to $150, that's enough to trigger a complete economic collapse.
So you heard that? The oil don't even have to go up. It can just double. Because as he said, right now the oil is $75 a barrel. So even if the oil doubles in price, that's enough for an economic collapse. So it's over, man. It's done. Call Lord Yahweh Bashmel Shai. It's over, man. Okay? This world is on the way out. We're entering into a new age. All right? So you Akim and Akwat out there need to understand how critical of a junction that we're in right now, man. We're in a transition of power. All right? To where the Lord, he's manifesting the end of this world and the beginning of the world to come. Okay? And it's happening through these signs that are within the earth that are making people greatly afraid and uncertain. Okay? Right now, you see the stocks are going crazy, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? People are selling because the global markets are pretty much up in the air right now. Nobody can really say with certainty that things are going to stay the same from day to day. All right? So the world is unsure. But for us, you know what I'm saying, that trusting Yahweh Bashmel Shai, we're fully convinced. We have a more sure word of prophecy, okay? And we see these things coming to pass.
$300? We're looking at the end of the economy as we know it. When oil hit $147 per barrel in 2008, it helped trigger the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. That was just double today's prices. We're now talking about potentially quadruple that level. The global oil market is already stretched.
So 147 a barrel was enough to trigger a great recession. Woo! So if that thing gets to $300, $400 a barrel, you already know what's coming behind that, man. Okay? It's going to be I Am Legend out here. It's going to be the Book of Eli, all right? it's going to be the road, civil war. All right? That's what's going to be happening all across the world, man. You see? So, hey, Yahweh Bashmel Shai ain't playing, man. This is it. We're in the end game. All it takes is for oil to double, for everything to just collapse. Everybody lose their job. Everybody's hungry. The supply chain stops moving. That's all it takes. A double in the price of the barrel of oil. Okay? And matter of fact, let me get that video of that woman. She was talking about it. Let me go to hopefully Nick. Okay, here we go.
So I typically wouldn't share a dream like this on here.
Yeah, this is from the brother, hopefully like 3. Right, subscribe, be edified. Always great, informative, edifying videos coming out from this brother, man.
Mostly because it's not my dream. I didn't have this dream. But my grandfather had this dream. My grandma, who is now passed away, and her husband, my grandpa, are well known in our family to be prolific dreamers and oftentimes would have prophetic dreams. And my grandfather, who is in his early 80s, had a prophetic dream about America. My sister recently went to go visit him this past Sunday, and he was taking a nap. He was by himself, and it was just him and her. He woke up from his nap, and he looked over and he started sharing his dream immediately with my sister. He told her that he had a dream that he saw a lot of people fighting, and a lot of innocent people were being killed here in America due to this fighting. My grandfather saw a war here on American soil, and he was really saddened by this dream. And then he began to tell her that he knew that he wasn't going to be here long, not much longer. Either I'm going to die of natural causes or I'm going to be killed. Mind you, my grandpa doesn't watch the news, so he doesn't know anything about the riots that are happening in LA. He doesn't know about the riots that are happening in other parts of this country. He doesn't know any of that. But my sister told me that when he told her that dream, she knew instantly that this was a prophetic dream. My sister felt that the Holy Spirit was on him when he was telling her this dream. So today is June 11th. I don't know what to make of this, but I pray that, we don't see civil unrest here in America. I pray that we don't see war on our own lands.
And no, see, and that's wicked, man. All right, because the Lord wants civil war. The Lord wants there to be wars on the soil of America. Okay, when you read Isaiah the 19th chapter, it tells you about the Egyptian against Egyptian. Okay, brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, city against city, Rome against Rome. All right, this is what the scriptures speak about, man. So you praying against it, praying that it don't happen, I mean, I get it. But at the same time, you're praying against the will of Yahweh Basham Yahushai. All right? And she would profess herself to be a Christian. Well, why are you praying against the will of the Lord? Do you not see how wicked that this world is? And see, that's the thing about these Christians, man. They're content in this world. You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable with the wickedness here. All right? They don't want this place to end. They want this place to continue because, this is their lot. This is their portion. So, of course, they're going to pray against the will of Yahweh Bashmil Shai. And I'm not sure if, she may look like she can be, Northern Kingdom, or she could be Edomite. Who knows? All right. But regardless of the fact, people that claim to believe in the Bible, man, they really don't believe in it. because they don't want the will of the Lord to be done. See, we want what the Lord wants. All right. If the Lord say that he going to destroy Babylon the Great with the utter destruction, then we all for it. All right. It don't matter what we have here, because again, we're pilgrims. Right. This is not our rest. So we understand, you know, whatever we have is going to come a time where we're going to have to give it up. You see? Then you go, yeah, look at that. That's another thing I saw today. Student loans, man. People credit score. It's over. You know? It's over, man. People's credit score is tanking. You're going from a 681 excellent credit to 461. Now your shit is in the gutter. All right? It's over, man. People are cooked. Okay? Let's go to Jeremiah 51, man. All right, because I hate that typo. You know, but you can clearly see through the spirit that the Lord is doing a number on this place. Okay? Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Leave this place, man. Leave this place behind. All right? And let us go, everyone, into his own country, which you see happening now. The heathen are leaving in droves, okay? They're getting out of America because they see the writing on the wall. They see that there's no future here. All right, let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies, you see? So we're at that point, man, to where this, you know, this place is under judgment. This place is about to fall. Okay, then when you go here, end time headlines, just a few articles from off here, all right? Trump leaves G7 early and heads back to Washington as conflict between Israel and Iran intensifies, right? Iran could resort to unconventional means of retaliation. All right, so, you know, Iran is now talking about biological warfare, chemical warfare. Okay, which who knows if these things are true. This could just be propaganda coming out from the small hats to justify continuing this war with Iran. All right, but these things are out here as rumors, okay? But these things very well could be true. You know, we just gotta wait and see what happens. Trump to offer Iran last chance proposal. See that? So Trump is like, look, you know, we giving you an ultimatum, take it or leave it. And Iran is in the spirit right now to where they're like, listen, you know, we don't have nothing to talk about with America. We have nothing to discuss with Trump. Do what you got to do, okay? And they already letting the missiles fly, man. So they clearly don't give a damn, okay? And the small hats, they're getting China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, not Iran, Turkey. Okay, those Eastern kings involved in this war. And America's going to be dragged into it too, because they're going to have to defend the small hats. All right, and America pretty much gave the go-ahead to send to strike Iran. All right, and then they denied having no nothing to do with it. Okay, which that's all a lie. Okay, even Iran knows that America gave that order. All right, so it's pretty much over, man. You know, there's nothing more to talk about. Armada of USAF tankers just deployed east over Atlantic, spurring speculation. So you got America, all right, sending warplanes over to that region. So these things are moving very, very fast, man. You know, like the Lord is speeding up the days for the sake of the elect. All right. Iran strikes on Israel escalate, killing at least 24 and damaging U.S. Embassy branch in Tel Aviv. Yeah, man. Israel declares it has full aerial superiority over Tehran, and U.S. aircraft carrier steams towards the Middle East. And you know that's one thing about Esau. He got the air game on lock, all right? Because let's not forget, this man is the eagle, okay? So Esau, he got the air game on lock with his fighter jets and the bombers and everything like that. But on the ground war, all right, that's why they're going to have to put troops. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're going to have to institute military drafts, because they don't have the infantry. And on top of that, if you saw that Trump parade that he had on Saturday, that thing was a mess, all right? That thing was embarrassing, okay? Soldiers couldn't even march in formation, all right? No type of order, no type of synchronization, no type of discipline. It was just sloppy, man. And that's a representation of the overall U.S. military, all right? You have individuals in there just for the benefits, okay? Just so they don't have to, go out into the real world and get a real job. You know what I'm saying? But they're not saying military isn't a real job, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? They're not there to actually go and fight a war. All right. They're not there to actually fight and be a soldier. They're there for the benefits that the military offers, man. Okay. They're not expecting to go to war. Nor do they want to go to war. Okay. 3 potential trigger events that could pull the U.S. into a direct war with Iran. Scientists detect mysterious radio waves coming from beneath Antarctica ice. How high will the price of oil go when Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz? Yeah, man. Trump vetoed Israeli proposal to assassinate Iran's supreme. Oh man, look, man. These small hats, they're not gonna stop. All right. But best believe if they make that move to assassinate the Ayatollah of Iran, all hell will break loose, man. Worse than what you see now. Okay. Trump warns, check it out. Trump warns America could get involved directly in Israel-Iran conflict if things continue to escalate. And see, they're already involved. They're already involved, but you see, it's really about to be official. So, get ready for these war drafts. You know what I'm saying? Get ready for famines. Get ready for T attacks on American soil, man. All these things are about to go down. All right? Yeah, it's a whole lot going on, man. But in the interest of time, I got to end it right here. Just wanted to go into that lesson, Lord willing. This is edifying through the Prakakadash called Law. Yahweh Bashmi Abshai Bashim Prakakadash. Until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Come to Shalom. Wa Bible Shalom.